Ladies and gentlemen of the House, our democracy hinges on a citizen's right to vote. Providing individuals with the opportunity to exercise this right is not only required by the U.S. Constitution, but it is a moral imperative. Iowa is currently the only state that prevents convicted felons from voting, and that is reprehensible. Restoring eligible felons' right to vote is not just practical, but right, just, and smart. In 2017, a study was done to investigate the potential effects of restoring a felon's right to vote. That study recognized that felons whose civil rights are restored recidivate at a lower rate than those whose rights were not restored. This means that the restoration of voting rights for individuals convicted of certain felonies has the potential to make our community safer, save tax dollars, and allow more citizens' voices to be heard. But we shouldn't have a poll tax in Iowa. We shouldn't have a pay-to-vote system. It is morally wrong, and I believe it's unconstitutional, to prevent felons from voting simply because they can't afford to pay back court fees, fines, and restitutions to victims. Simply put, this pay-to-vote system amounts to a tax, and it creates a new process for determining whether felons are eligible to vote. Now, during closing arguments, Representative Kaufman will undoubtedly say that he is on the side of the victim, not the criminal. And I can tell you right now, we all are on the side of the victim. But House File 818 does absolutely nothing to protect the victim's rights. In fact, allowing a felon to vote after they have served their terms will go much further in restoring victims' rights than House File 818 will ever do. A 2011 Florida government study found that people released from prison whose rights were restored were 3 times less likely to return to prison or supervision than counterparts without the opportunity to vote. Moreover, public safety experts like the American Parole and Probation Association, have for years argued that bringing people into the political process makes them stakeholders in the community, which helps them steer away from future crimes and incentivizes them to be more likely to pay their debts to society and their victims. A pay-to-vote system discriminates against those who cannot afford to pay. I believe this requirement is a violation of the 24th Amendment, which says the right to vote shall not be denied by reason of failure to pay a poll tax or other tax. The core of democracy, that all of us are created equal, is best exemplified and protected by the right to vote. Unfortunately, in Iowa, thousands of Iowans, particularly African Americans, remain unable to vote or participate fully in their communities. Iowans who have felony convictions, who have fully served their sentences, are still subject to the flip-flopping executive orders, depending on the political philosophy of the executive rather than a more stable legal regime. And that is not my finding. That is the finding of the Iowa Supreme Court. House Joint Resolution 11 is the start to restoring the right to vote for felons. For that, I am grateful. But that right should not be predicated on the ability to pay a poll tax. The right to vote should not be determined by who is rich enough. The right to vote should be enjoyed by everyone, regardless of income. This past presidential election was decided by who voted, but it was also decided by those who didn't vote and who couldn't vote. One of the most racially discriminatory barriers to voting is felon disenfranchisement. People who are felons are disproportionately people of color. Blacks are imprisoned at a rate of 13.6 times that of whites. This is more than double the national average. Latinos are imprisoned at nearly double the rate for whites nationally. Voting should not be restricted by a past criminal record. 49 other states agree with this. But neither should the right to vote be based on your income. Voting must not and shall not be for the rich only. Everyone must enjoy this right. We should consider the importance of a second chance to someone who has committed a crime in his or her past, but is now part of the community and trying to care for themselves and their family just like everyone else. It is hard to do that without a voice in your government. We shouldn't predicate that voice on one's income. That is the definition of a pay-to-vote system. That is wrong. That section of this bill is wrong. A poll tax is wrong. Please vote no on House File 818. Thank you.